Hello, everyone, and here we have a new story. Before we get to that, I want to ask you to subscribe, like, and be sure to write comments in order to participate in the development of the community. Write how to improve my community, current topics in the stories you are interested in, and much more. I read and listen to all the comments. People write me stories by mail from different countries. There are problems with translation. I apologize for this. I will work on it and try to fix these errors. I want to thank everyone for their support and the people who wrote to me by mail. Broadcast news stories. New videos on my channel are published once every 2 days at 7 p.m. Don't forget to put a bell in order not to miss new videos. And now let's go. Hello, I want to tell you my story. I've been walking around in disbelief for 2 weeks. I found out about all this 2 weeks ago. My wife, after meeting with business partners, came home not herself. I hug her. She rejects me. I try to kiss my wife, and she turns away and says that everything is different now. In general, I couldn't sleep all night, and my intuition didn't let me down. Usually, when my wife left, we had rough sex on her return. I must say right away that I love my wife very much. We lived together for 5 years. I never even thought to pay attention to other girls, even though I had my first knocked-up marriage before her. I lived in my first marriage for 12 years and I have a daughter. I've had a lot of girls in my life. I'm 36 years old, but when we met her, I immediately realized that she was the one and only. My wife also had a first marriage before me and a child from her first husband. In general, she also fell head over heels in love. 3 months later, I divorced my first wife. I've never loved her. My current wife also divorced her first husband. They lived together for 7 years. A month later, we started living together in a civil marriage. We were both against signing a prenuptial agreement after unsuccessful first marriages. At the very beginning of our relationship, I warned her that I would never forgive cheating. She sincerely swore to me that I would be the only man on earth for her. Since we have already destroyed our past families, then why all these sacrifices? I was sure it would last a lifetime as I loved her very much. I accept her child as my own. In general, I fell in love like a young kid. Her son accepted me and loved me and became like my own. That's how we lived for 5 years until the week before last. In the evening, as usual, I parked my car in the parking lot. I've never checked, but something told me to check the DVR. As a result, I heard a male voice on the recording, which could not have been there. Because my wife went to a meeting where there were only girls and I knew about it, I heard a conversation with her business partners. They are all girls. I know which game they were meeting at and on what issues. I ripped the DVR of the windshield and run home, bathe and buy my child and put him to bed. We have dinner and go to bed too. I can't tell you how I felt at that moment while I was waiting for my wife to fall asleep. At 1 o'clock in the morning, I get up, take my laptop, headphones, and go to the kitchen. I smoke non-stop while copying the recording from the DVR to the laptop. I put on my headphones and sit, waiting. In the beginning, everything was as my wife said. She met with her partners and went to a cafe. After nightfall, she called me and said that the road was long and she was tired. She asked what she should do. As a loving husband, I allowed her to stay at the hotel that her female friends rented. My wife's father didn't mind either. We discussed this situation with him, but then I see that my wife is heading towards our city. But she shouldn't do that. Then I watch some man get into her car and they start an interesting dialogue. My wife tells him that you've been wanting to see me for a long time. So we met. Then they turn off the road and drive to a small town in search of a hotel. I listened to their dialogue for 2 hours. They were flirting with each other. My wife said some very unpleasant things. They even touched on the topic of sex. My wife told him she couldn't wait to put his baton in her mouth. In general, I was shocked by what I heard. I drank a large bottle of whiskey and smoked cigarette after cigarette. If I had known where she was at that moment, I would have left my mother's child and gone there. I look further. My wife returns to the place where this guy left his car. Her lover leaves and my wife goes home. At the same time, she discusses all the details of her stormy night with her female friends. As it turned out, I was a bad husband who brought her nothing but problems. I brought bad luck in business and family affairs. She had a young lover of 24 years old, and the mature girl felt good. Everything began to get better for her. Even her mother-in-law with sore legs began to recover. I was shocked by what I heard. I have to tell you that my wife has her own small business. But we also have a joint business, but it brings less income. But it's only a matter of time, and in a few years, it will bring in good money. My wife's financial investments were an order of magnitude higher than mine. But I invested everything I had and did everything myself. It took us a whole year to arrange and open. Then I find out that my wife has had sex with him for more than the first time. When my wife's friend asked if sex was better than with husband, my wife replied that she was used to me and had not yet understood, but she made it clear that she really liked it. I always tried my best and did not put my interests above her interests above her interests. She was always delighted and said that she had never had and would never have men are better than me. I also found out that my wife's lover is short. My wife has always liked short men. Her lover is studying in France and distracting my wife from our family problems. She's not going to marry him, but she doesn't love me anymore. I can't put into words what I felt at that moment. I just didn't expect my wife to do this to me. I couldn't wait for her to wake up and woke her up at 4 a.m. She woke up with a displeased face and asked me what I wanted from her. We had a serious conversation. My wife told me, "Well, what did you want? It all happened because of you." In a rage, I told her everything to her face. She replied to me that only love keeps her close to me, and if love passes, then she will not live with someone she does not love. To be honest, I've been living in a cocoon for the last year. I paid little attention and love to my wife. Problems at work and in the family have made themselves felt, but I always helped her with everything I could, as it seemed to me. Yes, we were sorely short of money, and I understand everything. But treason is a knife in the back. Now, my wife has gone on a business trip, and I know that they are together. Although after our conversation, she told me that she would not have sex with him anymore, so as not to hurt me. But she doesn't love me anymore, and nothing will work out for us in the future. I even had thoughts of killing myself. For the 4th day, I feel like I'm in hell. I control my wife's accounts and location. I can't think of anything else, even though my wife says get distracted and do something useful. But I can't do anything because pain and jealousy overshadow my mind. I loved my wife very much and was ready to die for her. Of course, I sometimes snapped and shouted at her. But my wife is not an angel either. She had a very strong character. In business, you can't be a rag because you're going to be broken. All this has left its mark on her. I've been sitting and watching a lot of different stories on your channel for a long time, but I still don't know what to do. At the moment, ignoring and self-isolation won't help me. The apartment I wanted to move into is being renovated and there are no conditions there. If I leave now, I know for sure that my wife will make me guilty. She will say that I left at the most difficult moment and left her alone with all the problems. Although she says that she needs to get used to living alone and solving all problems on her own. We have a common business. 2 days ago, she offered me to stay friends. I guess she can't decide what to do. She says that she does not consider her lover as a father and husband. That's why she's not in a serious relationship with him. But that's all she told me before she left for a business trip. It's hard to guess what will happen after that. She called me today and says she doesn't feel anything for me. When she is next to me, love is somewhere inside and something blocks it. She's probably already weaning on me at the moment, and when she arrives, I don't know what to expect from her. I feel broken, betrayed, and trampled. I don't want to cheat on her, and I can't live with her anymore and have sex with her. I always imagine her having sex with her lover. I immediately feel disgusted. In general, I gathered all my strength and filed for divorce. At the moment, I was moved in with parents. I hired a good lawyer. I did not wait for my wife from a business trip. By the way, she called me and it was obvious from her voice that she was at a loss. Apparently, she didn't expect such an act from me either. We divide the property 50-50. I will help my child financially. But I feel very bad and I do not know what to do about it. Help me with any advice. I will be glad to hear any of your opinions. If you like the story, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so as not to miss new videos. Now let's move on to the opinion of the author of the channel. The opinion of the author of the channel. By tradition, I want to wish strength and patience to our hero. After listening to your story, I will say one thing. This is a banal situation. I see you've already watched the stories on my channel and you understand this. You made the right choice to leave and not humiliate yourself in front of your wife. I know how difficult it was to make this decision. First of all, I myself have experienced a similar situation in this life. I understand your feelings very well. I want to give you a little advice. Try to ignore your wife. Do not answer her messages or calls. Spend more time on work or hobbies. Get involved in sports and change your image. When your life gets better and your wife sees that you are happy without her, she will start taking the initiative to come back. Take my word for it. She will regret her actions and will never be happy. But in no case, do not forgive her betrayal. Contact your friends or family for support. Remember, that time heals, and don't blame yourself in any way. It's not your fault. If your wife says that you are guilty of something, don't pay attention to her, because girls always make men guilty. This is basic psychology. Good luck to everyone. If you have watched to the end, I want to say thank you very much. I love you all. Thank you for joining me on this exciting journey of love, betrayal, and redemption. I appreciate your support and encourage you to subscribe, like, and share this story. Your participation and feedback are invaluable for shaping our content and promoting mutual understanding and community growth. Until we meet again.